interim government started functioning in right earnestness. Jawaharlal Nehru said, "For long have we been passive spectators of events, the playthings of others. The initiative has come to our people now, and we shall make the history of our choice." Every evening, the interim cabinet met without the viceroy and took independent decisions on several major issues. Jawaharlal Nehru was perturbed by the communal violence in Bengal and said, "I have come seriously to think whether it has served any useful purpose for me to head the interim government if an important part of India sinks to barbarism." The Direct Action Day declared by the Muslim League had led to riots in Bengal, Bombay, Bihar and Punjab. Mahatma Gandhi lamented, "We are not yet in the midst of a civil war, but we are near it." He said, "The independence of India is at stake because of Bengal and Bihar." The northwest frontier province of India, a predominantly Muslim area, had given a massive mandate to the Congress in the assembly election. When Jawaharlal Nehru visited the frontier province, the Muslim League organized anti-Congress demonstrations. In spite of the Muslim League instigated hooliganism, Jawaharlal Nehru was able to complete his tour of the province. Five members of the Muslim League, headed by Liaquat Ali Khan, joined the interim government on the 15th of October 1946. The League ministers broke the convention of collective responsibility and started working as a separate bloc within the cabinet. Communal violence erupted in East Bengal in the most virulent form. Answering the call of distress of the suffering humanity, Mahatma Gandhi visited the worst affected areas of Noakhali. For 4 months, the Pilgrim of Peace walked from village to village and from door to door. At Srirampur, Jawaharlal Nehru came to seek his advice. The lone crusader succeeded in cementing the broken ties of brotherhood and in establishing peace. The Secretary of State for India invited Jawaharlal Nehru, Jinnah, Baldev Singh, Liaquat Ali Khan and the Viceroy to London with the hope of bringing about an agreement between the main political parties. Interpretation of Para 19 of the Cabinet Plan, dealing with proportionate representation in the assemblies, became a stumbling block. There was no agreement. On the 6th of December 1946, the British government issued a clarification, but the Congress President found it at variance with the statement of May the 16th, 1946. The newly elected Constituent Assembly met in New Delhi on the 9th of December 1946. Jinnah called it a blunder and asked the League members to boycott the session. Some Congress members demanded the resignation of League ministers from the interim government if the party did not join the Assembly. Dr. Rajendra Prasad was elected the President of the Constituent Assembly. Jawaharlal Nehru moved the objective resolution which said, "This Constituent Assembly declares its firm, solemn resolve to proclaim India as an independent sovereign republic and draw up a constitution for her future governance." But political progress was hampered by Jinnah's attitude. The League instigated communal violence was costing lives. In order to defuse the mounting crisis, Prime Minister Attlee announced on February the 20th, 1947, the British government's definite intention to effect the transfer of power to responsible Indian hands by June 1948. He also announced that Lord Mountbatten would replace Lord Wavell as the new Viceroy of India. With the exception of the Muslim League and the Anglo-Indians, all the parties welcomed the announcement. Gandhiji was beckoned to Bihar in March 1947. The land of Gautam Buddha, the land of enlightenment, was now drenched in the blood of the innocent victims of communal fanaticism. Gandhiji said, the cry of blood for blood was barbarous. The frontier Gandhi, Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, was his constant companion. The two Gandhis helped restore peace and provide the healing touch. On the 24th of March 1947, Lord Louis Mountbatten was sworn in as the last Viceroy of India. His assignment was to transfer the responsibility of the government of British India to Indian hands in a manner that will ensure the future happiness and prosperity of her people. On the invitation of Lord Mountbatten, Mahatma Gandhi came to Delhi on the 31st of March 1947. The Mahatma told the Viceroy that he was totally opposed to any division of India. India was now definitely moving towards freedom. She was also influencing the destiny of the people of Asia. In March 1947, the Congress invited representatives of 22 nations to New Delhi for the first ever Asian Relations Conference. It was attended by over 250 delegates. Sarojini Naidu presided over the conference. It was inaugurated by Jawaharlal Nehru.
Friends and fellow Asians, we have arrived at a stage in human affairs when the ideal of that one world and some kind of a world federation seems to be essential. We should work for that ideal and not for any grouping which comes in the way of this larger world group. But in order to have one world, we must also in Asia think of the countries of Asia cooperating together for that larger ideal.
And now I am going to request the father of our nation, the apostle of love and truth and non-violence, to give us his benediction.
Madam President and friends, West today is despairing of multiplication of atom bombs, because a multiplication of atom bombs means utter destruction, not merely of the West, but it will be a destruction of the world. If you want to give a message again to the West, it must be a message of love.
The conference was the beginning of the end of colonial rule in Asia. Mountbatten held a series of talks with the Indian leaders individually and collectively. The whole of India watched and waited with hope and anticipation. During several days of discussions, efforts were made to maintain the unity of India, but the Muslim League refused to agree to any plan other than the partition of India. Baffled by the growing communal disturbances, Mountbatten prepared a hurried plan and sent it to London with Lord Ismay. It was proposed to transfer the power to the provincial governments, leaving them to come together to form a central government if and when they chose to do so. Princely states would be free to make their own arrangements. Jawaharlal Nehru turned down the plan vehemently, as it would have completely destroyed the unity of the country for all times to come. On the 2nd of June, Lord Mountbatten had a meeting with Jawaharlal Nehru, Patel, Acharya Kripalani, Jinnah, Liaquat Ali Khan, Abdur Rab Nishtar and Sardar Baldev Singh. He placed before them a new plan for ascertaining the wishes of the people of India concerning their future constitutional arrangements. The plan was, the work of the existing Constituent Assembly would not be interrupted, but the constitution framed by the Assembly would not apply to those parts of India which were unwilling to accept it. The wishes of the people of different parts of the country would be ascertained either through the existing Constituent Assembly or through separate Constituent Assemblies of the representatives of the dissident parts. In Punjab and Bengal, the assemblies would be divided into two sections, representing the Muslim and non-Muslim majority districts. If they opted for the partition of the provinces, each section could join the assembly of its choice. In the Northwest Frontier Province and the Sylhet district in Assam, choice would be exercised through a referendum. The British government would cease to exercise the powers of paramountcy over the princely states. It would be open to the states to enter into political relations with the successor governments. Mountbatten asked the leaders to send him the views by midnight the same day. The Congress Working Committee sent its acceptance in writing the same night. Jinnah was reluctant to commit himself. Around midnight, the Viceroy told him that if he did not accept the plan, it would be the end of his Pakistan dream. An emergency meeting of the All India Congress Committee was convened to ratify the decision. As widespread communal riots were causing untold misery, the Congress was left with no alternative but to accept the division of India. The resolution on the partition of India was approved by 157 votes to 29. Gandhiji said, "Let posterity know that Gandhi was not a party to India's vivisection." The frontier Gandhi, Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, broke down and said, "You have thrown us to the wolves." The Indian Independence Bill was passed by the House of Commons on the 15th of July. It received the royal assent on the 18th of July. The act said, two independent dominions, known respectively as India and Pakistan, shall be set up as from the 15th day of August, 1947. Two boundary commissions were appointed under Lord Radcliffe to work out the partition of the provinces of Punjab and Bengal. A referendum was held in the Northwest Frontier Province and in the Sylhet district of Assam. Khudai Khidmatgars boycotted the referendum in the Northwest Frontier Province. This was unfortunate because only the pro-Muslim League voters were in the field and the Northwest Frontier Province went to Pakistan. Sylhet, Sindh and Baluchistan joined Pakistan. On the 22nd of July 1947, Jawaharlal Nehru moved a resolution on the national flag in the Constituent Assembly of India.
Resolved that the national flag of India shall be a horizontal tricolour of deep saffron, kesari, white and dark green in equal proportion. In the center of the white band, there shall be a wheel in navy blue to represent the charkha. The design of the wheel shall be that of the wheel chakra which appears on the basis of the land capital of Ashoka.
After centuries of foreign rule, freedom was at our doorstep. But the followers of the Muslim League indulged in large-scale killings, looting and burning in Lahore, Gujranwala, Rawalpindi, Lialpur and many other towns and villages of Punjab, Sindh and Bengal. There were repercussions in several parts of India. Tens of thousands perished and millions became homeless. Overnight, millions became refugees. Once again, Calcutta was the scene of communal discord. The Mahatma returned to the city. He held no office, but the governor, the army commanders, and the premier of Bengal depended on Gandhiji's power over the masses to bring peace. Gandhiji undertook a fast to make the people realize the futility of communal hatred. The people of Calcutta once again listened to Gandhiji's advice. Dignity and brotherhood of man was restored. New Delhi, on the midnight of the 14th and 15th of August. The Constituent Assembly met at a special session under the presidentship of Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Jawaharlal Nehru moved the independence. Dr. Radhakrishnan seconded the motion.
History and legend will go around this day. It marks a milestone in our democracy's march. Here in this land, under the leadership of one who will go down in history as perhaps the greatest man of our age, we have opposed patience to fury, quietness of spirit to bureaucratic tyranny. With what result? That the transition is being effected in such an orderly and dignified way.
The Constituent Assembly appointed Lord Mountbatten the first Governor General of the Dominion of India. On August 15th, the Governor General administered the oath of office to the first Cabinet of Independent India, headed by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Lord Mountbatten then drove in state to the Constituent Assembly. The Governor General read out the King's message.
I have a message from His Majesty the King to deliver to you today. This is His Majesty's message. On this historic day, when India takes her place as a free and independent dominion in the British Commonwealth of Nations, I send you all my greetings and heartfelt wishes. Freedom-loving people everywhere will wish to share in your celebration. At this historic moment, let us not forget all that India owes to Mahatma Gandhi.
The Independence Day was celebrated with great enthusiasm all over the country. Bombay, Calcutta, Madras, and in fact in every town and village. The Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru unfurled the tricolour on the ramparts of the historic Red Fort. Jawaharlal Nehru said, "To India, our much-loved motherland, the ancient, the eternal, and the ever-new, we pay our reverent homage, and we bind ourselves afresh to her service."
Nurtured by the Gandhian philosophy of non-violence, peace was a passion with the Indian National Congress. Therefore, even when the Western powers were following the policy of appeasement, Mahatma Gandhi had written to Hitler, the one man who could prevent a war and save humanity. Must you pay this price for an object, however worthy it may appear to you? Will you listen to the appeal of one who has deliberately shunned the method of war? Hitler embarked on his misadventure in September 1939, which was to cost over 30 million lives. India had been dragged into the war without consulting its people. The Congress Working Committee met at Wardha on the 14th of September to discuss the grave crisis. The Congress issued a manifesto condemning the fascist aggression of Poland and said, "A free democratic India will gladly associate herself with the free nations for mutual defense against the aggression. If war is to defend the imperialist interests, then India can have nothing to do with it. If, however, the issue is democracy and freedom, cooperation must be on the basis of equality." In February 1940, Mahatma Gandhi called on Gurudev Tagore at Shantiniketan. Gurudev described Gandhiji as one belonging to all humanity. The Mahatma said, "Vishwabharati carries God's protection because it is the creation of an earnest soul. Shantiniketan will never cease to grow so long as Gurudev's spirit rules over it." 19th of March 1940, Maulana Azad presided over the annual session of the Indian National Congress at Ramgarh. The Congress condemned the Viceroy's declaration of India as a belligerent country without any reference to her people. The Congress declared, "Nothing short of complete independence can be accepted by the people of India. They alone can properly shape their own constitution and determine their relations with the other countries of the world." Jawaharlal Nehru said that India can take the full share of the responsibility of fighting against fascism if immediate independence is granted. He was supported by Maulana Azad, Sardar Patel, and Rajagopalachari. In March 1940, the Muslim League met at Lahore and passed a resolution which demanded the partition of India on communal lines. Jinnah declared that the constitutional settlement must be governed by the fact that India was not. And Azad reacted sharply. "Partition on communal lines is absurd and meaningless." Sir Ghulam Hussain Hidayatullah criticized communal politics and said, "Let our one endeavor be to unite and not divide our country." When the Nazi forces occupied Holland, Belgium, Denmark, Norway, and France, England stood alone and wanted India's support. The Viceroy invited Gandhiji for talks on the 29th of June and informed him that Britain was willing to give a broader share to Indians in the administration of the country. Gandhiji sympathized with Britain and France. Gandhiji asked the Viceroy to recognize the Indian people's right to free speech with all its implications, or deny the right and face the consequences. On the 7th of July, the Working Committee met in Delhi. Rajagopalachari's resolution was adopted. Given freedom, India would wage war as one of the allies. the British did not accept the offer. Gandhiji was requested to plan the next move. The Mahatma did not want to hamper the British war efforts by a mass movement. He decided to launch individual satyagraha to protest against the dragging of India into the war and to court arrest. He said, "The essence of satyagraha is not to shout slogans, but to carry out in letter and spirit the word of your chosen general." The first satyagrahi was Vinoba Bhave. He was jailed. The second satyagrahi, Jawaharlal Nehru, was arrested at Gorakhpur. In his defense, Nehru said, "It is not me that you are seeking to judge and condemn, but the hundreds and millions of the people of India, and that is a large task, even for a proud empire. It is a small matter what happens to me in this trial or subsequently. Individuals count for little. They come and go, as I shall go when my time is up. But it is no small matter what happens to India and her millions of sons and daughters. This is the issue before me, and that ultimately is the issue before you, sir. If the British government imagines it can continue to exploit them as it has done for so long in the past, then it is grievously mistaken." Jawaharlal Nehru was sentenced to 4 years' rigorous imprisonment. Raja Gopalachari, Maulana Azad, Sardar Patel, Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, Acharya Kripalani, and a host of others courted arrest. Satyagraha continued right up to the end of 1941. Tens of thousands were languishing in British jails. Government prohibited the publication of news of the arrest of satyagrahis. In protest, Gandhiji suspended the publication of the Harijan. Subhash Chandra Bose went on a hunger strike in Alipur jail. He was released and confined to bed at his home in Calcutta. On the 26th of January 1941, Subhash Bose made a dramatic escape from his house arrest. He reached Berlin and raised the Azad Hind Fauj. His aim was to fight for India's independence. In the next few days, the Japanese army occupied Shanghai and Thailand and landed in Malaya, posing a threat to Europe's colonial interests in Asia. In order to secure India's support, all political prisoners were released. The Congress Working Committee met at Bardoli on the 23rd of December, 1941. The Congress gave India's offer of cooperation as an equal partner, provided the British government created conditions in which India could honorably obtain freedom and democracy. Its resolution said, "The whole background in India is one of hostility and distrust of the British government, and not even the most far-reaching promises can alter this background, nor can a subject India offer voluntary or willing help to an arrogant imperialism which is indistinguishable from fascist authoritarianism." President Roosevelt of the United States and General Chiang Kai-shek, President of China, urged Churchill to find a solution to the Indian question. Allied war efforts in the East needed India's full support. With the fall of Rangoon, war had come to India's borders. Eventually, Winston Churchill yielded to the pressure of the Allies and announced in the British Parliament that Sir Stafford Cripps would be sent to India with a proposal. Cripps arrived in Delhi on the 22nd of March, 1942. The Congress President, Maulana Azad, met him on the 25th of March. Jinnah and all the other leaders called on Stafford Cripps 2 days later. During the discussions, Jawaharlal Nehru, Maulana Azad and Raja Gopalachari were keen on an early settlement. The British played up the question of minorities and invited the leaders of practically every party, every community, every group, and every shade of opinion. The Congress, the Muslim League, the princes, representatives of the Hindus, the Christians, Anglo-Indians, the Sikhs, the scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, commercial interests, and others. While agreeing to the principle of self-determination, the British proposed that an elected assembly be convened at the end of the war to frame the constitution for India. The princes would be given 1/3 of the seats. The proposal gave to the provinces the right to join the Indian Union or to form independent states. Similarly, it was proposed that the right of non-accession be granted to the 600 and odd princely states. This was not acceptable, as it would lead to the balkanization of India. It was also proposed to reconstitute the Viceroy's Executive Council with only Indian members. The British, however, wanted to retain control of defense, foreign affairs, and finance. The Congress insisted that the defense portfolio should be in Indian hands, and the Viceroy's reconstituted Executive Council should have the full powers of a Dominion cabinet. But the British did not agree. Gandhiji asked, "Why did you come if this is all you have to offer?" The Congress found the proposals vague. The Cripps proposal was rejected. Jawaharlal Nehru's reaction was,
The clock of destiny is ticking away, and war and danger hover over the world. We shall have to face their consequences also, and we can only face them by forgetting our petty troubles and conflicts and pulling all together so that we might, by our united strength, make India independent.
although the Cripps mission failed, the Congress still had hopes of a settlement. Jawaharlal Nehru said, the whole issue was nationalism versus British imperialism. Perhaps the British government never intended to find a solution. As Churchill was to say, I have not become the first minister of His Majesty's government to preside over the liquidation of the British Empire. The Congress Working Committee met at Wardha on the 14th of July 1942 and adopted a resolution. It said, events happening from day to day and the experience that the people of India are passing through confirm the opinion of the Congressman that British rule in India must end immediately because India in bondage can play no effective part in defending herself. The freedom of India is thus necessary not only in the interest of India, but also for the safety of the world, for the ending of Nazism, fascism, militarism, and other forms of imperialism. The Congress is anxious to avoid the experience of Malaya, Singapore, and Burma, and desires to resist the invasion of India by the Japanese or any foreign power. This is possible only if India feels the glow of freedom. The threat of the invasion of India was growing. A savage war was being fought along India's eastern frontiers. Kohima and Imphal were soon to become fields of grim battle. The Working Committee met in Bombay on the 4th of August to discuss the crisis. The Congress was agreeable to the stationing of the Allied armed forces. Jawaharlal Nehru moved the Quit India resolution, which said, ending of British rule in this country is a vital and immediate issue on which depends the future of the war and the success of freedom and democracy. A free India will assure this success by throwing all her great resources into the struggle for freedom and against the aggression of Nazism, fascism, and imperialism. The peril of today, therefore, necessitates the independence of India and the ending of British domination. The Congress President, Maulana Azad, supported the resolution and asked the British to withdraw as masters. He pointed out that power, when it comes, will belong to the whole people of India. The Congress passed the Quit India resolution unanimously. It was decided to launch a non-violent, non-cooperation movement. The people of India were directed to face dangers as disciplined soldiers of India's freedom. Gandhiji advised, forget the differences between Hindus and Muslims and think of yourselves as Indians. Every one of you should from this moment consider yourself to be a free man or woman. He asked the people to do or die, either make India free or die in the attempt.